Rattling area, and there's like 5 signposts in a line. This ridge acts as a funnel and basically funnels all the bucks and bears down into this flat where there's food. So if they're coming from another ridge, the easiest point for them to travel is right here. And that's exactly where you want to be if you're bow hunting especially. Finally just got light out. I got the sunrise to my rear. And I'm posted up sort of on a slope behind this blowdown. And I'm just gonna call for a little bit because I know the buck's bed right over on the other side of this bowl in the softwood. On both sides of the bowl. Crazy amount of signposts I've seen. I found that a few times before in the woods, but like this one was active. I think it was Outlaw calls it like a signpost city or something like that. They're out there, and if you find them and they're still getting hit, that's a gold mine for the rut. These bucks are gonna dip into these areas where they're all communicating all year long and basically touch base with everybody, claim his territory. So we're gonna sit here, call. It's really calm. There's no wind. The leaves are pretty much off the trees. So the focus this weekend is if I do get a shot, take my time, make sure there's no friggin' branches, and take the shot. I'm gonna probably be here for about an hour, half hour to an hour, depending on if I feel like anything's happening. freezing right now. This is such a good bowl to be in though. I just want to take my time for as long as I can. And then obviously if I get too cold, I move around a little bit. Notice the mountain range right here. It's completely exposed by sun. These cold mornings, the deer will bed down on this side and take in some of that heat. Just ran by I think it was a cub. I mean, it literally was there and then gone in 2 seconds. Those things literally sneak up on you like nothing else in these woods. Their pads are just so soft, they can walk over dry leaves. You literally never hear them unless they're feeding. That giant that walked up on me last weekend was 10 yards before I noticed him. And again, I was downwind of that bear. So he had no idea I was here. I want to say he's still right there, but I don't know. I gotta keep working this ridge though. I think it's a really good spot. Had a fresh buck scrape. Like 10 yards that way. And it seems like all the bucks are moving their way up the ridge right now. new scrape. You can see he nicked up the tree. Basically, he's bringing the leaves backwards towards me, which means he was walking in this direction when he made the scrape. And if the wind was consistent with what it is now, he was walking with his nose in the wind. So that deer may have gone down, circled this way, or circled this way, and now it's back up top. I'm planning to go around over this saddle and drop in. That's like last night, right there. I'm gonna run into one of these at some point. I am finally getting into that area, which is on the back side of the home range of the guy I've been trying to shoot. I've got the suspicion that I'm in the right place. I'm gonna walk up this brook. We're gonna start calling here once I get into the thicker stuff. I was walking through all that super open woods back probably as far as 200 yards. And it's just too risky to be calling in there unless you're like sitting down perfectly concealed for a while. Two fresh rubs in less than 50 yards in this bowl. What we're going to do at this point is we're going to post up in this softwood so I'm concealed. Get my bow ready so that if something comes running in, I can shoot him easily. I'm going to break out the rattlers, start rattling and grunting, and hopefully draw something out of this swamp down here up towards us. This is pretty exciting to see all this new sign. I feel like I'm just getting closer every single time I come out here. I don't know how big that deer is. It's hard to tell. If there were trees behind it, we could figure out how long his tines are. Could be a spike, could be a giant. Maybe we can call him in. So I just found two brand new rubs. One rub scrape. And it seems like these bucks are sort of paralleling this ridge. There's a brook that runs right into a swamp next to me. And I'm in the middle of like a beech grove. There's beech trees everywhere. I've posted myself up next to this stump, dead stump, split up the middle, which for the most part conceals my left side. But it's at least giving me a chance to shoot at anything that might come out of the swamp. So I'm going to break out the antlers and start rattling a little bit. We'll call, probably hang out here for an hour. See if anything comes in. If nothing comes in, I'm going to keep hiking back up over the top. It seems like a lot of those deer are coming from higher, which is crazy because we're already way up there. So this is going to be an all-day hunt. I imagine I'm probably getting out of the woods at dark if I don't shoot something sooner. There's an enormous black bear in front of me. I just don't know where he is. He's making his way up this ridge. I'm putting the stock on him right now. The same size. The thing was gigantic. I just couldn't get in bow range fast enough. He's climbing. They're like tanks. They climb up the mountain as fast as they want. So he's ripping all these logs apart in this beach area. So I just got to the top of the ridge. I also know that the bucks are hanging out up in here. So I think I'm just going to take it easy. I don't think they're going to go anywhere. I think he's going to be right back in here if I bumped him out. I don't think he caught my wind. He just kind of lollygagged away. He didn't run or anything. But he might be off to my right. So at this point, what I'm going to do is zigzag technique. Back about 100 yards. 25 to 50 up, come back. 25 to 50 up, come back. And I find that that technique usually keeps you in the area that you need to be hunting long enough to, one, spot something, gives you better angles on the game, and two, it makes sure you don't miss anything, because while you walk through here, there's these giant boulders and trees that are knocked over. It makes it really easy to walk right by something at 100 yards and never know it was there. I want another shot at that bear. I don't know if I'm going to get it, but I know he's hanging out in here. So if he's hanging out in here, it's going to give me a really good chance coming back with my rifle. I'd prefer to get it done today, though. my rifle though, it's starting to get a little too tight. So I'm still way up on the mountain, and I haven't seen that big bear since we saw him running up the ridge. I haven't had any deer in here, but there's signposts everywhere. They're all old, but a couple new scrapes on some primary scrapes. I keep hearing something walking below me on this ridge, and I'm still in the beech. And I'm not sure if it's just some squirrels running around or a bear or a deer. So I'm trying to take it slow. But at this point, I mean, I'm literally at the top of the mountain range. And I'm not too far from a rub line that I identified a couple weekends ago that I think is that big buck's. So I'm probably going to do a battery swap here in a little bit. And then make my way alongside this ridge and keep that zigzag technique going. See if I can't run into that big bear, or hopefully that giant deer. Both of them are giants, honestly. But I've just been sitting on top of this place, glassing. I'm not seeing anything. I got this crazy mountain view. You don't get to see that at all earlier in the season. You gotta wait until all the leaves are gone. At this point, we're at that time of year where it's a lot easier to shoot since all the leaves aren't on the trees. Rifle season starts next week. I'm gonna be in a different area with some buddies. And then I'm gonna be back up here, hoping for snow. Hopefully I get a shot at one of these. There's a couple real big bucks, but I really want that giant. I'm not sure if there's any bigger ones up here either. There might be. I just haven't got them on camera yet. I know there's some freak shows that hang out in this area, New Hampshire. I mean, like that, we have big bucks everywhere. Much farther south, there's a guy that shot this stud. I think it was muzzleloader. And I think it's now the number one buck for New Hampshire, muzzleloader. Way farther south where we live. I saw a 10-point, giant 10-point, super tall tines just chilling in our backyard. Suburbia. And then, of course, hanging out here. You know, if there's enough land and enough feed, you can get into some exceptional deer. I think a lot of people want to poach other people's spots because there's so much land, it's easy to put miles on and not find anything. But like, you guys got to consider, like, the amount of public land in the state of New Hampshire is incredible. And if you haven't actually, like, put a veteran effort into one area, like, can you really say that there's no deer there? I worked this area for so long, especially preseason scouting. I was not coming into any deer sign. I wasn't seeing any sign. I wasn't finding antlers earlier in the year. And then all of a sudden, my camera started seeing deer. It's like, there they are. They've always been here. I just haven't been in the right places. So, it'd be a real cool story to start the early season out this way and finish it here too.
Well, that does it for today. 2 black bears, 2 moose, no deer. 1 really, really big black bear, frankly. Really wanted to get a shot off, but I just couldn't find him again in the open hardwoods. So I'm taking my jacket off and I'm gonna haul out of here. Hopefully I'm not getting out when it's too dark. I obviously came in when it was really dark, so it'd be nice to switch things up. But still got tomorrow to hunt. I'm gonna be back up this way. Probably gonna switch up what ridge I'm hunting. See if that's more effective, but I'm not really sure what to expect. We know where the bucks are. I got a camera down here that I can swing by and check out, so I'm gonna do that before I get out of here as well. Restarting tomorrow. Day 2 of this weekend. Saw 2 black bears, 2 moose yesterday. No deer. I'm trying to figure out how to work this ridge today with the wind. It's pretty calm, but it says gusts to the west. Yesterday it was a complete opposite of what it was saying, both Onyx and the weather app. So basically it was blowing my wind right into the bedding area that I was trying to strategically go around, sort of head into the wind. So by the time I got there, I did see fresh tracks. I didn't see any deer. So today I think I'm gonna go a little bit farther up the mountain, drop into the potential bedding area, and work the beach, because every time I'm in the beach I see deer and bear. So we're gonna hike up here. I got a late start this morning. I'm already sweating and try to stay warm. It's not too cold yet. But by the time I get up to the top of this mountain, I'm expecting to see perhaps another bear, since they're definitely in feeding mode right now. Or a giant buck. Had a couple fresh rubs yesterday, but other than that, no scrapes. So I could be in the wrong area altogether. That's the problem with the rut. You're going to start out with a home range, early bow, and you're basically going to work that home range. You know the bucks are there. You get them frequently on camera. And then all of a sudden they all disappear. And that's just how it goes. So I just don't know where they're hanging out yet.
when I was putting my jacket on down there. There's fresh bear tracks in the leaves going out into this grove. I don't think it's a shooter, but that would explain why that stick broke. So the plant today, clearly all the action's happening in the beech. I'm gonna get up top into a bowl where I've seen some action lately. And I'll just hang out in there all day long. Probably get out to the back bowl, work that for a little bit, and then finish my day coming through this bowl. Seems like the bigger bears like to be really, really isolated. But I mean, they're worth getting after. That big bear that I saw yesterday was ripping these logs apart. I think it was just looking for bugs and grubs to eat. We don't have much farther to get to the top of this ridge. This is a perfect day to shoot a giant black bear. I'm seeing a lot of bear tracks just about at the top of the ridge. And I think I've seen like 3 or 4 sets of bear. I don't know if it's the same bear, it doesn't seem huge, or if it's just sort of zigzagging through all these beech. But I really do feel like the place to be is in the beech, at least right now. I've kind of got a fixation on these bear in the middle of deer season, which is tricky. That might change next weekend, but it's hard to gauge the wind. It's going this way, then it's going that way. I really just need it to go that way, which it never does. You can see the leaves are turned up. They're looking for beech nuts. Might be deer in here too. I can't really tell with the leaves. They're so dry. You can see how the leaves are turned up. This is all feeding sign. Usually they're just flipping them, getting them out of the way, because I can smell the beech nuts that have since fallen into the leaves. When they initially drop out of the trees, they're usually obvious on top of the foliage. But, I don't know, probably end of October, all of those nuts usually are harder to find sort of in the leaves. Got a deer bed right here. I mean, you're never sneaking up on a deer that's bedded down on top of a hardwood ridge. It's just not happening. Gotta catch them on their feet. Looks like it was laying down. This is its butt, and it had its head in the leaves. And then its track goes out that way. And then a bed. Decent sized bed. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 piles of bear shit right here. I think this bear ate and just gorged itself and then had to take a nap. Based on how the leaves are pressed down, it seems like it was a decent bear. Hoping to run into him.
on this thing. Notice how I have a plane above me. Perfect time to start moving. See how close we can get to this thing. I think he winded me. Off to a good start so far this morning. Saw that bear. Was honestly within shooting range. No shooting lanes, and I wouldn't have shot him anyway. He's too small. So I think at this point, like I was thinking this morning, beech, groves, we're gonna hang out here most of the day. I got one on the backside of this mountain that I want to check out, and then it starts going up again. I'll probably check that slope where I saw that giant bear yesterday. I mean, if I've caught him on that, in that area anyway, twice now, I don't think he's going far. I think they're definitely prioritizing pre-hibernation feeding. So I think it's 10 o'clock. Gets dark at 4:30 now. I gotta get out there so that I can give myself enough time to hunt. I'm sitting next to what I think is a nice buck track right now in the leaves. It's punching right through the leaves. Usually that's about 185 plus pound deer. It's sort of dropping down into the bowl behind me. I can't get these bucks figured out yet. I don't really know where they're hanging out. Got them on camera, always at night. We're getting closer to that peak rut, so hopefully I'll start seeing them during the day, but I've only seen does. I think I've seen 5. And this bow, honestly, it offers a whole new level of difficulty. It's fun. You get out here more too. If you don't hunt bow season, you really only have, I think it's 3 weeks. So I'm gonna keep pressing on.
shavings on the leaves. He's gotta have a brow tine, I would think. Gets him way up here, a little bit farther. Farthest it next is up here. I mean, I can't really tell. I think it's probably a smaller deer. Rubs are actually really never a good way to determine how big the buck is that you're trying to kill. Or if you're tracking him and you see where he rubbed. Little guys rub trees like this, big guys rub trees like this. They're not looking for a larger tree to rub. It's all about scent. I see him rub these a lot, actually. These birch. I see him rub beech, and then a lot of pines. That's a brand new rub. Third new rub in this area in a few days. I had that really big bear come out of here. I'm gonna get out and then left. There's beech up in this area. We had that really big bear go up in the saddle at 12 o'clock. I've caught him twice down here, or two big ones, two big bear, and this bull. They're so focused on feeding, I don't think they're leaving. Like what we just saw earlier where that bear had bedded down. Shit all over the place. I mean, like, once you find the area, you're there. I didn't even see this other room. This is actually the one that I saw originally, and I thought it was that. That's a fairly new scrape. Licking branch. And then I look to my right and it looks like there's another good rub tree right there. That's 2 fresh scrapes. So 2 fresh scrapes, 3 fresh rubs. Today, just in this low spot, and then up there, I had even more sign. I just wonder how big these deer are. Post myself up in this bundle of brush. I just counted like, I think 4 fresh rubs right on this shelf, and they're all headed in the same direction. So I'm basically gonna sit here for a good while and call and see if I can pull anything off the top of the ridge behind me. We got a fresh scrape down in the bottom. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fresh shrubs that all face in the same direction on one finger. I think this is a really good opportunity to shoot a nice deer. I've got myself positioned in some more open woods. One of the issues that I've been running into is that the softwood is just too thick to shoot the bow. You know, you might get half a lane or 3/4 of a lane, but eventually there's some sort of brush in the way that's deflecting arrows. So I've made sure that I'm sort of in and around an area that I expect to have multiple lanes of travel, and then also multiple shooting lanes to complement that travel. So we'll see what's going on. I'll probably sit here until I get too cold. But I know there's been a few black bears in this area. There's definitely a buck working this ridge. Sounds like something's walking over there. Probably not after that. I'm kind of freezing now. Nothing. I still think there's a good chance of running into a buck. I think rifle season starts Wednesday. That's when we're really gonna hunt hard. Hopefully with some fresh snow. I must have just missed that buck. That sucks. Look, and then he hit it again right there. They're starting to get fired up. A couple different deer have hit this. So just bumped that doe out of her bed on the side of this beech hill. Had her engaged for a second there with some doe bleats, but the wind started blowing right at her, and she blew. She's out of here. So that concludes this weekend. Total count, we have 3 black bear, 2 moose, and then 1 deer. I mean, we're getting closer and closer to the deer every weekend. Seeing more and more buck activity. Rifle starts Wednesday. I got a weekend sort of out of this area. I'm going to go hunt with some buddies. We'll see if I get my buck then. If I get my buck then, great. I might try some archery afterwards. Probably will, honestly, because of that big deer that's up there that I've been looking for. If I don't get my deer up north, I'm definitely going to be hammering down on this area, trying all sorts of different ridge faces. If it's cold in the morning, I'll probably start on the south slopes, but I'm just going to circle pattern throughout this area using the home range of the buck I'm trying to kill as sort of the epicenter. If I get close enough, I'll know, because hopefully by the time I find them, there's snow on the ground and I'm tracking them. A lot of people would be like, well, how do you know it's your deer? You don't. And you won't until you shoot it. But there are a few ways to identify the buck by, how wide its chest is, how long its stride is, how big the foot is, does it have a square toe, are its dew claws perpendicular at the rear of the hoof.
perpendicular to the track. You find a buck track like that, that's a big deer. So even if it's not the buck you're targeting, it's worth following. So we've got some more footage coming for next weekend. It'll be the first weekend of rifle. I got a short work week for this trip. So we're getting out there Thursday, hunting through Sunday. I'm excited. I mean, I'm well positioned for a good season. The rut's, like, this is the day that I noticed the rut is definitely firing up. So, really excited. There is so much good stuff coming.